Hello, hello, and welcome. This is XanderSteel streaming, and today we are going to be playing through the first mission of the Shadowkeep DLC for Destiny 2. Now, Destiny 2's one of those games that I have had a bit of a love-hate relationship with, I think it's safe to say. I picked it up initially on day of release. I was very excited. I was a big fan of Destiny 1, played through the campaign, and then didn't really do much else with it. Until the Shadowkeep expansion came around. I had a chance to kind of get things updated, get things upgraded, and spend a bit of time with it and really kind of get to grips with what the new Destiny experience was, which, if we're being perfectly honest, isn't a huge amount different from the old Destiny experience. So I've been woefully attempting to catch up with where everything is, really. I've got 4 DLCs. I've got Shadowkeep, I've got Warmind, I've got Curse of Osiris, and I've got Forsaken, all to finish. So this is going to be my attempts to really get through those DLCs, try and understand what's going on behind the scenes in Destiny 2 now, because there's a lot of new methods for gaining levels, there's a lot of new techniques, there's a lot of new structures back there that I really don't have a clue about. So yeah, the Shadowkeep's not been too bad. It's been a decent expansion from the visual aspect. I really like the kind of the red ghosts that are hanging around. The gunplay, as always in Destiny 2, is fantastic. It's always one of those more satisfying things. I think the guys at Bungie have really, they've had time to practice this. This is their art, and it really shows. Everything about the gunplay in this is probably the most enjoyable aspect, I would argue. I mean, people may disagree with me on that. But we're back here facing the Hive in one of the areas that is pretty recognisable for anyone that's played through either of the Destiny games. We're taking on a nightmare version of Omnigul, again, who was a boss, who I faced numerous times in the game. So we'll continue on this way. It's interesting, coming up against these kind of versions, again, of the Thralls, of the Knights, of the Acolytes. It's become somewhat of a problem with Destiny, that they do have the different races, they do have the different campaigns, but I just can't help but feeling it's a lot of the same every single time. And every time you face them, obviously they've all got the different techniques. The Knights put up the shields, as you can see there, you can go around the side. We've got these new finishing moves that you saw on the last enemy there. Things feel a little bit fresher, but arguably I'd say they could probably do a little bit more. Some people would probably say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I think, the visual looks good. I think the story has always been one of the weaker aspects for me with Destiny. I don't really... It's either the same story, retold, or I find it very difficult to kind of get my head around what aspects I should be learning from lore, what aspects I should be learning from the missions. I mean, just there you go. Picked up a new piece of lore. I'll have to read that at some point and figure out where it fits in with everything else. But I don't know. It's one of those things. Maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment. There's the ghosts again. I really do like those. I think they look absolutely fantastic in this section of the game, and on the moon just generally, just hanging there, and then, let's have a look, fading away. There you go. On the screen, it's alright. It's good, it's enjoyable, it's solid, but I really do worry that Bungie have said they're going to be shelving a lot of the content in time for the next expansion, in time for Beyond Light, which is coming out in the fall. And I really do worry that it's going to end up, well, not ruining the game, but certainly giving people far less options when it comes to jumping in and playing casually, jumping in with their friends, or catching up on content. I mean, that's partially the reason I've decided to do what I'm doing, that I'm looking at trying to catch up and play all this content before it's locked away, before it's shelved. This will become probably my trademark of playing, that I do tend to overstretch somewhat character-wise, and I will get myself put down repeatedly when I probably could have saved myself a lot more easily. Thankfully, I'm just playing by myself, so not letting anyone down in that regard. I do like the golden gun. I still think that's one of the strongest supers for me. I tried with the staff, and I tried with the kind of the knives version of the supers here for my character, which is a hunter. I don't know. There's something about the gunplay and something about the kind of the more long distance aspects of using golden gun that I always appreciate, especially when you can boost it up, get things exploding, or just get more bullets and really pile on the damage. I need to figure out how to unlock more of these finishing moves as well, because I like them. I think they look really cool. And that one in particular uses up a little bit of my special and gives me back a lot of stuff. Gives me back some ammo. And here we are. These on as well. So what have we got to do here? Lights. Assuming there's going to be some sort of twist. That seems to be kind of Bungie's thing at the minute now, that the boss fights all have a little bit of a twist from what they were previously. So it's not just a straight bullet sponge, as quite a lot of them have been, especially in the first game. It was everything was a bullet sponge. Although that does seem to work. Let's just pile on the... Oh, here we go. Right. There's your twister. So I'm guessing it'll be the acolytes that I need to get rid of. It'll drop the shield that I can then do more damage. And I'm very close to getting myself killed here, so I better be careful. That's one down. Where's the other one? There he is. I've been tending to find, I think, with Destiny, and a lot of these kind of games as service games, and by what I mean by that, if you're not aware of it, is these games that are eternally updated and changed. They have some aspects of microtransactions, as Destiny does with the silver. It's similar to kind of Rainbow Six, that you can pay for characters, you can update. The game never really is going to be finished, but at the same time that does mean that you're likely to have to pay for DLC and expansions at some point to get up to date with where the game is, which as a long-term gamer, I mean, I've been gaming for 30 years now, since the Master System and the Game Boy. It's a little bit of a disappointing trip. And I know it's a lot of good studios out there, like Project CD Red, have been really good with that. They've released a finished game, they've released free DLC, and then if the expansion has come, it's been an enormous expansion. It's been almost a whole game's worth of expansion. Whereas I think Destiny is probably one of the bigger culprits, that they are releasing short-ish campaigns, and then the DLC is usually behind a season pass, so people are buying in before they know what the content is. And then when the content's coming out, it's not always that great. It's short, or it's disappointing, or it's recycled, which I think has really been Bungie's, I wouldn't say downfall. They're making a huge amount of money on this, but I think it's lost them a lot of faith with the fans, and I think it's lost them a lot of goodwill, really. They are a fantastically accomplished studio, and whether this was Activision's decision, I mean, looking at the documents that have come out about everything, it's entirely possible it was Activision's idea, just to make a bit more money. I mean, I remember all the paperwork that was looking at the kind of the long-form version of their plans. Oh. There you go. You see, stretching myself too far. And let's just start this quickly again. Going back to the long-form plans, I think it's disappointing that that's the way a lot of things are going. I think with the next generations of consoles that are coming out, with the Series X and the PS5, which we will hopefully see later this year, there's a good chance, but let's not hold our breath on this, that studios might learn from mistakes and actually give people more complete packages. I think a large proportion of that has always been due to the fact that whereas before a single player game was released, whether that was on your Mega Drive, your SNES, your PlayStation 2 to a lesser degree, I guess, but there was no little to no online capability with those earlier consoles, and as such, what was shipped was what you got. There was no chance to update. And I think now, with high-speed internet, with the ability to update games relatively easily, although Bungie's doing what they're doing because of the problems they've had with that, I think it's becoming more and more tempting for studios, and maybe publishers more so, to release games in an unfinished state to get them to market and then worry about it later. I mean, you've just got to look at No Man's Sky as a perfect example of that. You've got to look at No Man's Sky that was a car crash when it first released. And now, some time later, it really has become one of the more appreciated games of that genre. But that it took an awful lot of work, and there's a lot of teams out there that are likely to release things. Payday 2 comes to mind. They're going to release games, and then for certain, consoles or for certain platforms, they may not update them whatsoever. So you're left with a broken product because it's just not worth the money for them to do so. Bungie have got impetus here to make sure this is all working as best as possible, because they are making a huge amount of money on this, a huge amount of money on this. And with any luck, the product will improve. They're not doing Destiny 3, they're doing Destiny 2 forever. I don't know whether they'll drop the 2, potentially, make it just Destiny again. They are bringing back Game 1 content. Cosmodrome apparently is one of the things they're looking at bringing back in kind of the earliest wave of this new content once they show other stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I have always been a fan of those games. Your Mortal Kombat, your Street Fighters, where eventually you get something like Mortal Kombat Trilogy or Mortal Kombat X, where you have all the fighters available and you've got the choice to play as and when you want. And I think that's almost the way that these games are going to go. We're going to see every level, we're going to see every raid, perhaps on a rotating basis, and work backwards from there. Which would be nice, give players choice, but at the same time with these kind of, is it an MMO game to a degree, perhaps, but it's MMO light. People want new content. World of Warcraft's been releasing new content for a very long time now, and it keeps the player base up. So maybe that's the way forward. But I'll keep doing these videos. I'll keep rambling nonsense. I'm gonna try and get on the goal. There we go. Oh, finally. Let's just see how we get on. I'm going to keep playing through, and hopefully you'll keep watching. This has been XanderSteel Streams. See you later.
This time unique to this nightmare.
I see. And we will uncover its secrets together. Until then, the Hive await you inside the Scarlet Keep. Let me know what you find within.